Well, Chris, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. We kept the sun out and it's not too cold, I hope. But first things first, how are you and how's the rehab going with your knee injury?
Yeah, I'm all okay, thank you. I'm 2 weeks or just over 2 weeks now post-operation. I was on crutches and kind of sofa bound for the first week, and now the second week it was more kind of just getting it going again. I've started cycling, I've started doing some gentle weights with the physios, step ups, lunges, little things like that. But now, fingers crossed, it's going in the right direction so far. But yeah, it's still probably another 6 weeks away or so before I start playing. But as far as things are, it's in a good place.
And what have you been up to during that period of time? What does it start? October, was it when you first?
Yeah, so it's the last Premiership game before the autumn. We then kind of gave it a week or so to see if it would settle, see if it would kind of heal itself, so to speak. And then it was straight into the operation on the Tuesday. And then yeah, it was watching a lot of Netflix, a lot of some Pride, ice in my knee, kind of elevated and not really leaving the house. I think I won those kind of Fitbits on the phone, and I think it said I did 75 steps one day.
Oh wow!
So that was kind of how limited I was to not doing anything.
Did you change your diet that day, or?
Well, early on, I changed it for the worse actually. I think when you go through those injuries and you have surgery, you need a bit of comfort food. You need to. You're pretty low and whatever else, and you need to enjoy it. And then once you're over that, then you kind of kick into the eating extra healthy and all this kind of stuff to get you back up to speed.
And how are you as an individual? When you get injured on a field, I think as a player you generally know whether it's bad or not. Mm-hmm. Do you as an individual, do you panic or do you take a bit more of a measured approach now you're a bit more experienced?
I think this one, because I've had a bit of a, not a dodgy, but a sore knee for some time now. So I've kind of learned how to deal with it and how to get the best out of it, so to speak, with physio and icing and whatever else there be. But in this game, it just, and recovery-wise after the game, it just didn't feel right. Normally I know it would be a bit stiff the next day, but just this there was just something different to it. So I tore my meniscus, which is a shock absorber in your knee, basically. Came in the next couple of days, and I still wasn't walking right. I was a bit stiff. And then we went to see the specialist up in London, who gave us his thoughts, who recommended surgery, and everyone I spoke to recommended the surgery. And normally people would say you could surgery or you could do the rehab, so you're in that. But no, this was very black and white. That I had to have it done, and as soon as possible, really, just to get things fixed up and you can move on.
And how do you try and approach the period when you are injured? Because I know there's been certain players when I've been playing that it's physio and home, get out of the way, or do you like to be more involved in what's going on here at Quins and also with England?
No, especially early on, I would say a difficult patient. I find it hard to sit still and just do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And you've got your missus kind of helping you or cooking for you and stuff like that.
So is that better to be away from the club then, from that point of view?
Yeah, early on you need to be away from the club, I think, just because you can't do anything. You're trying to get the swelling down. So it literally is doing nothing. And then at the moment I'm kind of in the mornings, done by about 12, and then I'm out of here, which is quite nice. I always find when you're injured, this is the hardest bit, because you want to be out there playing with your mates. You love playing rugby, so to go see them on the weekend, to see them every day out there on the training pitch enjoying themselves, you want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And that's always the toughest thing. And then you get into the kind of the rehab cycle where you come in, you do your rehab to the best of your ability, but it's, in all honesty, rehab's pretty boring. Yeah. You're in the gym, you're doing repetitive stuff. For me, it's a lot of kind of obviously single leg stuff. You're trying to kind of get the muscle going, firing up again. And it's just a lot of repetition just to build it up, to keep strengthening it up. So it does get a bit tedious, and that's why you need to have good things outside. So that you're in the morning, you're doing your physio to the best of your ability, but then you're getting away, you're keeping your head and a clear headspace, which is hugely important.
And do you're a huge asset for the club. Do the coaches try and pick your brains on stuff that might happen at a weekend, even if they know that you're going to be heading away back home at lunchtime?
Yeah, I think later on they will.
Yeah.
I think initially they kind of let you just crack on with stuff, get your body into the best possible shape.
When you're more comfortable with it.
When you're more comfortable, when you're a bit more mobile, a bit more active, then you start to get a little bit more involved, whether it's doing injured skills or something like that, just to slowly build that up. But it's trying to just have things outside of the game as well. I remember I was 21, I think, when I did my ACL. And that was obviously a lot longer. That was a kind of 6 to 8 month injury compared to this, which is an 8 week. And you've got to keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
To all the young guys over there's a couple here at the moment where I did like a cooking course, and just little things like that, just going to see other mates away from rugby, just to have that escape.
Now, there's a long list. You're not shy of your way around the physio room or rehab. 2012 you fractured your thumb, 2013 your ankle strain, 2014 in a shoulder injury, 2017 shoulder injury and an operation, missed Six Nations, 2017 another ankle strain, and 2018 a knee op. Rehab.
A couple before that as well. But
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, there you go. I missed a couple probably.
yeah, I broke my foot twice as well. Broke my leg. Did all my knee ligaments. Yeah, so I've had a fair few.
So you've had a fair few, done a job on yourself.
Yeah.
Are there any benefits to being injured? Clearly you want to be on the pitch, clearly you want to be playing, but given perhaps also your age, 32, 33, you're moving towards the end, does that give you more time to actually do something else?
It's interesting actually, because this year in particular, and like, people always speak about getting older and stuff, and I'm sure you would have said, particularly this year, people have been going, so what are you going to do next? And I've been like, well, I've got a couple more years left, I hope.
Depends who's asking.
Well, does he? But yeah, honestly, it's amazing how all of a sudden, even just friends at home or whatever, have been like, oh, so what do you reckon you're going to do? And you actually, I've got a couple of business interests and whatever else, and it's when you actually think, okay, what am I going to do? What am I fully going to commit to? So yeah, there is a bit of time like that to explore options. And that's why the RPA, and we have a guy here as well whose role is to get you out, get you experience, do degrees, whatever else it be, to try to keep you busy and kind of further yourself.
Let us know a bit more about your business interests. What are you up to?
So business-wise, I've got a couple of coffee shops. I've got an events business. I've got a soup business I'm involved with. I've got a brewery I'm involved with. So yeah, there's a couple of things there. I enjoy the events. I enjoy the guys I find it extremely funny, and I think I'm probably the only person who owns a coffee shop who doesn't like coffee.
So you must have a decent business partner like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we try.
And just looking forward to this weekend. Clearly, it's a big November for England. The three big nations coming to town, and also Japan as well. No disrespect to them. What do we expect from an England side that's really been shorn of a lot of players?
Yeah, look, I think it's hugely exciting. And I know Eddie, he'll know how to get the best out of the players, and I think that's probably his biggest strength, his player management and his player welfare, and just whenever a guy goes away into England, they always lift their game. I think he's been brilliant at that. But I think with any of the guys, and speaking to them pre-Portugal, they're just excited. Like you say, it's the big boys of world rugby, the first time England are ever going to play Japan. Of course, they'll want to set a marker this weekend. Playing South Africa, they won the last game, but unfortunately we lost the series in the summer. So we're back at home wanting to prove a point. And I think, look, I'm extremely excited to see this back line. I had first glimpses of them in the summer, and I think they went another gear. They're starting to really hurt people.
Yeah. And
from an English supporter's point of view, that's extremely exciting to see. There's of course a lot of talk about Manu Tuilagi at the moment, getting back to where he was at his best. And I remember when we beat New Zealand, was it probably about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if he wasn't playing like he did, we probably wouldn't have beat him. He was a man possessed that day, and he has that ability to hurt teams. So I'm extremely excited, and I'm pleased that hopefully he can get a good run of games again.
And you're looking forward to the back line. I'm more intrigued actually about the back row this time, the likes of yourself and Billy missing. What can we expect from the guys that are getting an opportunity now?
Yeah, look, I think there are, like you said, there's opportunities all over the place, but also there's a huge amount of experience. I'm a big fan of Tom Curry. I think for a young guy, he's extremely strong, he's tough, he's a bit strange. But
there's always one.
But he's a twin though. But no, he's a great character to have in the squad, and I think in the summer, unfortunately he got capped 2 years ago now. Unfortunately got injured last year, had a couple of bad hands and stuff like that, and I think he really put his marker on the side in the summer, playing all three tests, going up a massive South African pack, because that's what the English pack is going to have to be physical this weekend.
And is that the area that England need to focus on to beat the South Africans, the physicality of the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know more than most. When you play South Africa, what do they pride themselves on? And it's that physicality. It's that upfront aggression, and probably playing a very territorial game. Whether Faf de Klerk's available to play, I'm not sure. But obviously that will be a big loss for them as well. We know him playing against him a lot in England, but also in that summer tour, he was a heartbeat at that side. But as a test of manhood, so to speak, the South Africans, that's what they pride themselves on. So the times we've had success, we've matched that, and unfortunately in too many times when I've been involved, we haven't quite been able to match that.
Well, Chris, thanks very much for your time, and I hope you get some opportunity to enjoy the games over November.
No, would it? Thank you.